DiplexHeated here again. Welcome back to our fictional Japanese invasion of the United States of America in 1944. Did you know that the Japanese did actually historically invade the United States? However, they chose Alaska as their target and not California. And it also happened in 1942, shortly after the attack on Pearl Harbor. But yes, that's a video and a topic for another time. We're back here. It's actually Monday in the series, Monday afternoon. The invasion began on a Sunday afternoon. Episode 2 took place 1 hour after the invasion, so this is roughly 24 hours afterwards. Obviously, the Pacific, or actually the Pacific Fleet is currently... I still haven't decided if they've won or lost the battle against the Japanese. Perhaps they're still fighting. So we'll say they're still fighting. But however, a smaller fleet, a much smaller fleet, was stationed in San Diego at the San Diego Naval Base. They have, they've been on a quick tour here, as you can tell, and they've shelled the entire shoreline, which is, of course... sort of an act of not treason, but it's an act of aggression against yourself. We've got a lot of U.S. citizens here and civilians and whatnot, but the Japanese have sort of fortified this entire shoreline, and they've set up their main supply base and their main headquarters around this area as well, so that it's closer to the actual coast where their own reinforcements will be arriving. Now, since the fleet at San Diego moved up here, the Japanese have not been able to land any more supplies, so no more fuel, no more ammunition, and especially not any more manpower. However, during the night, the Japanese forces that were landed throughout the entire Sunday evening and night have moved further into the city. They've made it downtown. By now, they've probably knocked out the few National Guardsmen that were defending their fob out there. There were very few in numbers, and they were just kind of the first responders to the scene. Hopefully, though, Theodore Reed, our hero from Episode 2, is still alive and well. And I did say Home Guard. I meant National Guard in Episode 2. I said that a lot. So if you missed Episode 1 and 2, be sure to check out the 2 links in the description below. They will take you there, or at least one, and that'll lead you to Episode 2, and then in that description you'll find Episode 1 as well. But I don't think anyone has missed anything. But as you can tell, the U.S. Navy that moved up from San Diego have done quite a lot of work here. A few buildings have been razed. And there's a lot of craters pretty much everywhere, and there's a lot of fires and whatnot. But this has been in a good purpose, obviously, to eliminate as many Japanese defenders as possible. Why? Well, because the Marines in San Diego, training there for future missions, who knows where, are about to be baptized by fire, or in fire, whatever you say. This is going to be their first taste of combat, and it's going to be up against an experienced and trained... Well, of course, the Marines are trained too, but they're going to go up against a pretty battle-hardened Japanese force here. Perhaps many of these men have seen action in China. Who knows? So this is going to be kind of cool. We've got some fresh Marine Corps recruits, about to do their first duty here by storming the beaches. Their own beaches, essentially, that have been occupied by the Japanese. So this is 1 day after the invasion. Now, the reason why these men and the rest of the U.S. Army forces won't be attacking from the east or north or south is because the Japanese have really, infected the entire city. They're holding out in building corners. They've got bombers set up, like kamikaze bombers set up with explosives. They've occupied and barricaded buildings. They've done everything to make this a war of attrition as well. And the quickest way to get to the fuel depot that you can see here, which we need to knock out to eliminate them being able to use vehicles in the future and whatnot, unless they somehow get fuels from another source. And of course their headquarters, the easiest way to get here will be from the shore and the beach. So the Japanese have foreseen this after losing part of their own fleet out there in the water supplying them, and they've also set up defenses here, and they're ready to hold in. So this is going to be a pretty gruesome fight, which is why I've decided to name this Battle of Los Angeles, because this is going to be the biggest battle so far, so to speak, with for the first time a proper U.S. Army force. Of course, the National Guard is proper U.S. Army, but at the time, the National Guard was not quite the National Guard we know today with A-10s and bloody Apaches and whatnot. Obviously, they didn't have that kind of military power at the time, but the National Guard was more of a home guard at the time than they are today, I suppose. Oh boy. So some of the ships stationed at the San Diego Naval Base that moved up here during the night are still shelling the shoreline here a little bit ahead of the Marines. Now do keep in mind, for the Marines arriving here, this is their first taste of action. They were training. They've been training for months at the base, and they happened to be there, obviously, at the time of the Japanese invasion. And they were all at the same place. They had all the training and equipment. They had just graduated. So, of course, they're going to be sent into action. But to think of this as every man's here's first taste of action, except for perhaps some of the sergeants and officers, it's kind of a weird thought. All right, I need to... We're losing out here. Oh, boy. We need to get our... Wait a minute. I need to... Hold on. Oh, jeez. I was in the console the whole time. Let's get these men out. Move. Our water buffaloes are arriving. This is the first wave. That water buffalo has been disabled. So is this one. Oh, look at the 75mm gun on one of those water buffaloes there. The others have twin 50 cals. Actually, a single 50 and a single 30 up top. And this guy here has a 37mm main gun. Oh boy. This first landing is disastrous for both sides. The Japanese defenders have taken a lot of casualties here by the sandbag lines. But the Marines are making their way in under mortar fire and machine gun fire. They'll aim to secure the beach before the reinforcements arrive, before the next wave of fresh Marines arrive. What used to be a pretty nice beach walk and promenade has turned into a rather gruesome area, and well, Los Angeles will never be the same after this attack. Of course, but then to think about it, what European cities will ever be the same after World War II? We're going to move some of these water buffaloes up to support the infantry. Let's go, Marines! Some of the Marines are getting really close here, and the Japanese defenders have died quickly. So, I think that's thanks to all the water buffaloes and the naval bombardments, but the Marines are moving up. There's still defenders closer to the actual building blocks, holding out. Oh, jeez! Oh, damn, the Japanese have planted explosives at all the entrances, and they set them off in one go. I think the third set that went off here killed a few friendlies by accident. Someone controlling the actual detonation device must have not been aware of that. But I am afraid that plenty of Marines fell to the booby traps over here. That was quite a gruesome explosion. The Japanese were clever, but we did know that they had placed explosives around the city, and I suppose attacking from the water with an amphibious assault gets us, as I said, closer to the actual targets we're looking to knock out. But also, less traps, less close quarter engagements, less casualties, and less of an attrition war, and also a much faster assault, so to speak. Can we get this guy up here? No, I don't think so. More Marines have arrived here. We're looking at a whole company. Jeez. Probably more than that. There's 30 Marines per boat here. So that's something you want to keep in mind when we're deploying this. We got 90 already setting foot here on the beach. Make that 120 in just a couple of seconds. And then another 90. So over 200 men here. We're deploying 2 Marine companies. One company was deployed first in the first wave, and we have the rest of the battalion arriving with a third wave. So this is just a massive military maneuver. This is just the dream, man. This is just the dream. Look at them moving up. But there's still plenty of Japanese defenders further inland. We still have not secured this quite yet. Oh, boys, what an attack. I don't think the Japanese expected it. Holy shit, what's going on back there? Is that goddamn naval battery still firing? Jesus. Holy shit. Could have been a bomber above as well that dropped a few nasty-ass bombs on the Japanese headquarters back here, but oh man. The Marines are flooding this position. The Japanese are doing their best to hold it back. Look at this street. Who doesn't like a little street like this? Fortified and defended by all the Japanese troopers over here. Absolutely fantastic. So do keep in mind that there's a lot of thousands of Japanese soldiers and tanks further inland fighting downtown right now. So do keep that in mind. Even if the Japanese lose this position, they'll still be able to make some kind of a... It's not over. That's what I'm trying to say. They still very much have control of many vital parts of the city. Oh, boys. No, what happened here? Holy shit, that's some Japanese reinforcements arriving right in front of my eyes. Oh, hot damn. Let's get him out, boys. I'm gonna get one guy out. We're gonna shoot the lock of the door here or whatever it is. Come on. Can we open the door? Okay, we can't open them. We've locked ourselves in, but we'll run around. We can do that. Can we just drive through? You know, drive through? Oh, look at that swerve. There we go. Gates are open. Oh, that's a bazooka being fired as well. Holy shit. How's it looking on this side? Street combat still very much active in this part. We have an AA gun down the street opening up at some of the Marines trying to make their way further in. How's it looking on this side? One of the Japanese Army headquarters have been disabled. I'm going to go ahead and take quick command. Holy shit, that's a good hit. Whoever made a hit there, they took out the entire vehicle convoy. Could have been a bazooka, who knows? Well, we don't need to flank around from there anymore then. There's a few defenders down here as well. One guy was hiding behind the car, an officer actually, and he was shot dead. The street is still being held by the Japanese defenders. The next wave of US reinforcements have arrived. The rest of the battalion will be unloaded. Oh man, look at this. Battalion! Even some support from a 20 mil up front. Now that is very welcome. That's so cool. I wanted to see it fire just a few more times. Oh, these Marines are getting ashore. So the beach has very much been cleared, so to speak, but we're still struggling here to clear this street. A lot of the Japanese defenders have died, but they're receiving reinforcements heading further up to the actual line of defense here. Oh, here's another truck arriving as reinforcements. Look at that. Cool. I like that. Let's get those guys out as well. Make sure everyone fights. No one can sit by. We need every man to defend this against the invading Americans, one could say. Or the liberating Americans. The struggle for this main street is going to be really epic, as you can tell right now. Marines are flooding in. The rest of the battalion has landed. Fresh recruits, like something out of bloody Halo. Like a whole academy of UNSC soldiers heading into the fray. I don't know why I said Halo, but there's something about that academy feel, you know? Oh, good bazooka shot. Hit something else, but it took something out. Hit a vehicle all the way back there. We're doing some collateral damage, but it's all Japanese losses, so that's good. We have two AA guns here that's going to be ripping it up. Oh, boy. Bazookas are still firing. I'm trying to get a good view of the battle and not miss things. There we go. We're coming in on the flank here as well, look. Absolutely gruesome street fighting here in the Battle of Los Angeles. Wow. Let's see if we can find any active vehicles. Any vehicles working down here that we can use? Something tells me we might need a little vehicular reinforcements. Some of the vehicles can't actually move up here, so I'm going to take these guys, and we're going to take them to the right, because we have that fuel depot to clear out as well, so we need to do that. So I'm going to send this water buffalo here, and I'll send this one with you as well. Actually, can you drive up the stairs? Can I force you to drive up? Okay, so if this wasn't Men of War, historically, of course they could have moved up. So I'm going to go ahead and select it quickly and just save us a few minutes and bring them up like that. Of course, historically and realistically, one could say, of course, a water buffalo would be able to make that. The game is a little limiting in some ways, so we'll have to give it some help on its way there. But we have 2 more water buffaloes moving up here. Hopefully they will come in handy as we try and secure this street. It's disastrous for the attackers. This has been such a... This is going to be a really Pyrrhic victory. This will be the forgotten, or the lost battalion, one could say, or the forgotten battalion. Just for taking so many casualties. We'll see if they can fire from there. Hey, that's a cool view if you ask me. Tanks on the street. Oh, what was that? Oh, hey, that was the water buffalo all the way here. Damn. Put a 75 mil almost cross map and hit the AA vehicle back there. That was very impressive. The other water buffalo up there was struggling to get a hit in or even to fire in the first place. We're going to move this guy up here on the right side. Do we have any more Marines that we can use up here on this side? I think we've got quite a few who are willing to join the fight. We need to actually clear out the ammo depot over here that's being overseen by a high-ranking officer over here with his binoculars overseeing the fight. We also have a armored vehicle and some infantry. I think most of the infantry have, however, moved elsewhere. There's been an explosion here of some magnitude that has actually taken out a few of the fuel vehicles, fuel trucks, and some of the tanks storing the fuel in. So, how do we get in there, by the way? Up here? I think that hole is big enough. I hope so. Yeah, it better be. Our Marines are getting closer. It's a close fight, my friends. It's a really close fight over here right now. We're moving in from everywhere, but the Japanese are still holding back here. But it's a struggle. It's a slow one, but we're getting there. That's what matters right now. Do keep in mind we have a lot of the Marines back here are still like not sitting by, but they can still be used in the fight. So we're gonna go ahead and send them in. This water buffalo here is just going to work on that light vehicle back there. Let's see if we can get it through the wall here. I think it's just thick enough or thin enough to fit through. Oh, yes. That is a victory, my friends. Let's light up the barrels back here. Watch this shit. That's wonderful. That's a firework display if I ever saw one. Let's also ram through the wall here. Not that I'm eager to control any set side, but it's just if there's a wall to ram through, you gotta ram through it. My father always said, if you've got a wall, ram through it. Oh, and this one we kind of rammed through as well. Somehow. Cool. A flanking maneuver by this heroic LVT-4 crew. It's gonna catch the Japanese off guard a little bit. What is he firing at now? There's a vehicle back there that's still apparently an issue. Holy shit, I was just gonna evacuate the crew from it, and they were just... Well, they imploded. That's a good shell, if you ask me. This tank has been knocked out by a bazooka. The crew hatch is all open and shit, so they're not gonna be using that anymore. Just to get some more troops out of the trucks, but mostly right now it's just like crewmen, logistics, soldiers, and engineers here in their white shirts and whatnot. Oh, man. They really tried holding the beach. They really did. And honestly, they did a great job. But they haven't done so successfully. But it's been disastrous for the US. This has been the most Pyrrhic fight for the Marines so far. This battalion is like the forlorn hope. They went in first. Freshly trained recruits, very many young men. And they got the job done almost. We're not completely through yet, but I think the streets are looking pretty clear. We have a few more Japanese soldiers up here that we have to clear out in the intersection, but after that, it's pretty much done. And then we have a few people holding a corner here. Now, these water buffaloes are in hold position, and that's for a reason, so that they don't spass around the map and get stuck in points, which is why I'm commanding them. And I think that's a pretty gruesome way to end that squad of Japanese soldiers. Can I move this guy up? Can we move through here? I like how you can kind of run through those walls. I mean, they don't collide, but I suppose they're walls, and walls can always be brought down by tanks. Moving up the main street now. I wonder if we've lost some crewmen here, because it feels like there's only one person operating this vehicle. No, there we go. The 30 cal is spinning. And U.S. Marines from the recently graduated battalion are securing the streets here. We've captured the shoreline. We've knocked out one of the headquarters here, directing all the supply routes and whatnot. And we've also taken out one of the fuel depots that will disallow the Japanese forces from utilizing their mechanized assets to their full extent. What a great battle. Hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been one hell of a fight. This time around, I'm also going to show you the casualties on the ground. The Japanese will be red. The U.S. Marines will be yellow. And you can just tell that it's been insane. So, just absolutely crazy. Look at the alley fights here. And the street fights. And this here has been a grinder. Trying to get to the main street. There will probably be a monument here within a year for this Marine battalion that kind of almost was entirely eliminated here doing this. Oh, man. Up here on the heights, in the ruins, in the streets, on the beaches. Absolutely insane. But look at this beautiful fleet here from the naval base at San Diego. And all the Marines here who recently graduated to just see this days after. It's a story. It's a war story, my friends. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 3. I hope you guys are excited for the continuation of this series. We're gonna see more civilian and police action soon as well. Don't worry. And I have a little bit of a surprise map as well that will be part of this series too. That's gonna be coming up, perhaps for the grand finale on Friday. So I hope everyone's excited, and I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao.